So I know I haven't made a video in a while, so I figured I'd make one. I got my hives inspected last week, and the inspector found one of the hives was honey-bound, which I had not really heard a lot about. So he explained to me what happens is in the brood chamber, the workers start filling the brood comb with honey and pollen, and they don't leave enough room for the queen to lay her eggs. So I ended up having to pull some frames out that were completely filled with honey, and I extracted 3 frames, got a half a gallon of honey, and then put them back in hopes that the queen would move back up to where those were and start laying eggs in those, or else my colony would have just kept dwindling down until there was not enough workers to maintain. So I watch a lot of YouTube videos, but hadn't really seen a lot about that being honey bound. You know, when he said it, I was like, oh, that's great, right? And he's like, oh no, that's not good, because your queen has to lay her eggs, and that's another reason why they'll want to swarm on you, is if they're honey bound. And that particular hive, it looked like it was getting ready to swarm, so I split it, and then after I split it, it still swarmed like a month later anyway, and I imagine that's because it was honey bound. So one of the things he explained to me was that in the brood chamber where the queen lays, she usually lays right in this area. I don't know if you can see it okay on the, I don't have a good piece of drawn out comb because everything's pretty much in the hive. But the queen will fill the center, and usually on the outside there's some honey or there's some bee pollen that they've stored up. Sometimes the queen will lay the whole frame. Well, what had happened with mine is some of them, there was only like this much space for the queen to lay, and then there was like pollen and then honey, and once they fill that up, they're not going to empty it back out to make room for the queen. So the only thing you can do is put empty comb in there, which I didn't have any drawn out comb, so I ended up having to pull some frames out and extract the honey so I would have some empty comb to be able to put back in there so the queen can start laying. I did go in and peek, and she was back in that upper box. So I'm hoping this week when I go look in there, I'll see some eggs and some larvae in those combs that I drawn out, and hopefully I'll be able to get them back on track. I also started trying to add more foundation frames in there to get more drawn out comb, because right now I have none. Everything's in the hives that's drawn out. The only thing I have is new foundation with new frames, and I have some of these that have the plastic in them to put in there, but they all have to be drawn out, and if there's not a large nectar flow, they're not going to draw them out, I guess. So I'm still learning, but you know, and I watch a lot of YouTube videos, and you know, I'm going to start researching more for that honey bound, you know, what to look for earlier on, so they don't get honey bound. But do some research. But the hive inspection went well. My bees got a clean bill of health. I started the season with 1 hive, and now I bought a package, so that got me to 2. I made the split, got to 3, and then that hive swarmed, and I caught the swarm, so now I'm at 4 hives, which I wasn't expecting, and that's why I pretty much don't have any foundation or drawn out frames or anything like that, you know, extra to be swapping out with. And also I've been, you know, having to make components. I've been working on making these screen bottom boards. I've got a lot of scrap wood. They're pretty simple to make. I made a jig to be able to put the grooves in, and I can knock one of those out in the evening after work. So that's just a little catch up on me. Hopefully I'll be able to make some more videos. I did get a new camera, and as I get time, I like to make videos, so I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.